What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Episode 23 of OKnowsSports here. We got a special guest, Finn McRobb, our first ever soccer guest on the channel. We're pretty excited about it, man. How you doing?
I'm good, Owen. I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. No complaints. Quick, brief intro on Finn. I had some people telling me I got to do better intros, so here it comes. So Finn played at High Point University for college. He's from Glasgow, Scotland. He now plays professional soccer for Indy 11. He's an All-American. He also won Defensive Player of the Year at High Point. He plays predominantly center back, but I'm pretty sure he's been switching around a little bit as he gets into his pro career here.
Yeah,
But he was dominant in Division One soccer, and we're happy to have him on today. So, am I right about that? You've been switching around a little bit.
yeah. That's a very kind intro. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, just been a little bit everywhere the last few weeks, but loving it, and yeah, just enjoying the experience for sure.
Love that. And just to clarify for everyone listening, because they probably don't know exactly what USL Championship means, you want to explain a little bit on what that means in the span of professional sports.
Yeah, so basically, the USL Championship is the second tier of American professional soccer. So you've got MLS at the top, and then USL Championship under that, and then USL One and MLS Next Pro or make up the third tier under that. So last year, coming out of college, I was in MLS Next Pro at Minnesota United, and sort of worked my way up a division here and
Mm-hmm.
into the second tier with Indy, and just got through my last few months and it's been going well. It's a really high level, so I'm excited for the future for sure.
Love that, yeah, and obviously it's great to see you jump into tier two already with just being a year out of college and talking a little bit. As I mentioned, you're from Scotland, so Scotland's a huge soccer place, and kind of
Yep.
everybody plays it there. How big was it for you when you were growing up? Was it everything, or did you play some other sports as well?
Yeah. Funnily enough, like I don't know, I'm not the smartest kid or the funniest, but I think if God gave me one talent, it was probably sports and ball sports
Hmm.
at that. So I was doing a little bit of everything growing up, a little bit of
Okay.
rugby, a little bit of golf, tennis, like whatever I could basically. But yeah, in terms of Scotland and sort of the landscape there, soccer is everything. You know,
Yep.
it was always gonna be that. I think my dad made sure of that from a pretty young age. That was that I was channeled into that line of work. So yeah, for just as long as I can remember, really been playing and been trying to get to here, I guess. So it's been good, man.
Yeah. Well, it seems like your dad did a decent job of steering
He
you on the
did.
right
He
path.
really did. He really did. I think he wouldn't like to take credit for it if you asked him, but the truth is he did a lot more than most to
Yeah.
help me out and get me going. So yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for. And then growing up, obviously you're a Celtic fan. I know that because I know
Correct.
you, but playing for Celtic as well, that had to be pretty cool putting on that badge, playing in the youth
Yeah.
academy. How was that growing up?
Yeah, I mean it was awesome. I was there from when I was 8 or 9 years old, I think. So just I remember the day when my dad told me when I was that age that I was going in on a trial or whatever, and from then onwards it felt like it's just the coolest experience ever to
Yeah.
have that and to go through being academy for about 10 years in the end. Something that I'm very proud of and yeah, as a Celtic fan, I'm sure Celtic and Rangers fans, some of the most passionate in
Oh
the
yeah,
world. It was awesome. It was just so cool for me, for the family, for everyone. So loved it. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
definitely. And for those of you that are not huge soccer fans that are listening, he's talking about the Celtic and Ranger rivalry. That I would compare that in the United States to like a Yankees versus Mets rivalry, and it's a real
Yeah,
brawl at those games.
yeah,
And a second thought on Celtic, for those of you that know a little bit about soccer but not a ton, Celtic has produced a ton of professional soccer players, most notably probably Andy Robertson on Liverpool, also Kieran Tierney on Arsenal. So those are top of the line. Those are the best clubs in the world. So it's pretty clear that Finn came from a pretty prestigious academy. So it's pretty cool to get to say that you played there for 10 years, man.
yeah. No, 100%. And I had a couple of teammates growing up that have gone on to reach that sort of top level and stuff. So it was, yeah, it's cool and in very good company the whole time. And yeah, really,
Definitely.
really enjoyed it.
So talking a little bit about that, who you played with and everything,
Uh-huh.
how did you decide based off of your talents? Obviously, you're class enough to be playing pro soccer right now. So how did you decide like, hey, I'm gonna go overseas and play in the US versus some of your buddies I'm sure were looking to sign pro contracts at 17, 18. What did that look
Yeah.
like?
Yeah, no, that's a great question actually. It's just honestly a crazy sort of time and a little bit of a fuck it decision if
Yeah,
if I'm honest, but I think it was around COVID when COVID first hit in
yeah,
2020, so like February, March time, and I had 6 months left on my contract at Celtic, and that's when everything shut down. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall a little bit, you know, that a few boys were probably going to get released, and I might have been one of those. And that was around that time I was training with the second team at Celtic and playing some 18s as well because I was still eligible for that. Um, but I think I knew I needed some more time to develop, you know, as a player and physically as well. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if we met each other until slightly later on in school, but freshman
yeah,
year I was skin and bones. Just skin and bones, tall, lanky, skinny, and I think I needed that time in the weight room in the good
yeah,
food in America to beef up a little bit, and so it was kind of a little bit like that. Plus, I wanted to experience something different, you know. I knew one kid who'd come over and played at Duke from Celtic, and that looked like his experience looked really cool and stuff, and that was really all I knew at that point, and got some offers for some good schools and ended up choosing High Point, you know, which I'm sure seems like a bit of a rogue decision for you guys. But I really didn't know much about the landscape and everything here, and luckily landed on my feet. You know, my coach is and all my coaches at High Point are some of the best people I've met, and they really took care of me and stuff. And yeah, it was just I just kind of went for it, and loved it. Yeah, loved every minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, High Point's definitely a good place, and obviously you guys built a good program from the time that you came, and now they're still a great program, getting good recruits in top 25 usually every year in the preseason. What were the offers looking like coming out of Celtic? Like, were you talking to everywhere, or I know it was COVID, but what did it look like?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy looking back on it because like after I was quite late on in the recruiting stage for that fall,
Hmm.
so I think I sent my film out to like as many schools as I could, and
Yeah,
after a day or two, the emails started pouring in. You know, I was on a different phone call every day, and
yeah,
you know, coaches at schools, you know, just trying to sell you the dream, and because they know if they can get someone who doesn't really know what
yeah. They
schools
could
want
trick
and
you.
stuff,
Yeah,
yeah, they can do that. So it was difficult to navigate, and I was probably very close going to Duke or going to I think my other one was Santa Barbara because I wanted something you know
okay,
completely different as well,
yeah,
and High Point being the sort of final three that I was looking at. But if you want my honest opinion, they I had a full ride from High Point. I didn't have that from Duke, and speaking to the coaches at High Point, my man Josh Gillen was recruiting me. He probably one of the best college recruiters that there is, and he was so personable. You know, just so good to talk with on the phone, and he really convinced me that you know that they would take care of me and you know I would enjoy it and everything would be okay sort of thing. So, and it was he was true to his word, and that was kind of the decision making process from there. But yeah, it was I was close to going somewhere else to be fair, but I'm very glad that I chose High Point in the end for sure.
yeah. Well, like you said, it's just a bunch of coaches praying you choose their team after they try to sell you
Yeah,
the dream. So
yeah,
that's great that it worked out the way it did. And talking a little bit about your career at High Point, obviously you come in as a
hmm
freshman, and were you expecting? And I don't know if they I obviously went through a way different recruiting process than you
Yeah.
did, but were they promising you playtime when you were committing there to High Point? Because obviously you walked in freshman year and dominated. So what did that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they can ever be in a position to offer anyone guaranteed, playing time because,
Yep.
I've seen it with kids that have come in after I've been at High Point. They're being very highly recruited, and the reality is, until someone walks in that door and you get a look at them in training and games and stuff, you
Yep.
don't really know what you're going to get. And when I first got there, um, I wasn't the best player right away either. I was probably near the higher end, even though I was a freshman,
Yeah.
probably around the top five in the team, something like that. But I definitely wasn't the best player, and I was like, "Damn, I've got to really work here to make it
Hmm.
happen." But luckily, I did enough. I think that first year our season got cancelled because of COVID, and we moved it to the spring. So I had a whole semester to get my feet under me and get used to the heat, get used to the lifestyle over here. Maybe do a little
Hmm.
too much partying as well. Get that out of the system when I
Oh
when
yeah,
I,
that's
when
yeah.
I could. And then by the spring that year, I was ready to go. Felt in a good place and yeah, just started playing right away and never looked back.
Yeah, and for the listeners out there, Finn's very modest in saying that he had a decent freshman year. He was actually on the top drawer freshman starting 11. So that means the best 11 freshmen in the country. Also, first team all conference. So you were obviously dominant, even though you were skin and bones. You were dominant
I
that
really
freshman
was.
year, man. And
Yeah.
I'm sure it's interesting. Like I question as a soccer guy because I've played my whole life and
Yep.
obviously not at the level you have, but did you see a big difference in style of play or gameplay when you went from playing on the second team over at Celtic, which is obviously a high level, and then
Hmm.
playing Division One college soccer for High Point?
Yeah, oh, 100%. Like, I think my coach at High Point would tell you that I was very adamant that there was a certain way to play, and we had to do this, and because I'd come from that obviously, and I was like, this has to be the right way and stuff. And the reality is that wasn't true. And the cool thing about college soccer is we have boys from South America, Africa, Americans, Europeans, like all put together, all these different styles of football, styles of soccer, like thrown into one. And you just don't know what you're gonna get. So we had like that's the best way I can describe it. So it was very different. And the one thing about America as well that I found the American game is it was a lot more athletic than back home. So like that was something I probably struggled with a little bit my first year was dealing with the really fast and strong boys on the other team who were 22, 23, 24, and I was still 18
Yep.
and dealing with that despite having a very good year. It was definitely something to get used to. So yeah, it was different for sure, but it took me by surprise because it was a very high level. It really was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and when you say like I'm just trying to understand like
Yeah.
tactically, when you
Uh-huh.
say like you were always telling the coach do this, do that, or in I feel like in
Yeah.
Division One soccer, there's a lot of like kick and chase, and like you
Yeah.
were saying, like there's a big nine that's like 6'3", 220. You just have the center back ping a 60-yard long ball and let him run. That's the opposite of what you were playing over at Celtic, correct?
Yeah. I would say so. I would say so. And the funny thing is, like, if you were to ask me now what I think is more effective, is I think the kick and chase to the fast
Yeah,
forward. The game. There's so many different ways to play the game and stuff, and you kind of just got to deal with what you have and do the best with what you've got. But yeah, I was very very confident when I first came over here and thought I would say I thought I knew it all, but I definitely wasn't afraid to voice my opinion. But I was 18, you know what I mean? So yeah,
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
cut myself a little bit of slack. But it was all such a good experience. Yeah, a really good
for
experience.
sure. Yeah, and then obviously sophomore and junior year, you were all conference again and
Hmm.
defensive player of the year, and you were playing great. Did you feel like like when was the time when you felt like, okay, I've got this college soccer in the United States, like transferring over, like I've got this figured out? Because obviously you can say you didn't have it figured out freshman year, but you were class all 4 years. So what was the time that you felt like, okay, I think I'm ready to go here. Like I'm ready to be the leader and the best player on this team?
Yeah, it was probably my junior year. I played summer league USL two,
Hmm.
sort of a semi-pro league over here in Knoxville in Tennessee, and we had some of the best college players in the country all come and play for that team.
Yep.
And during that summer, I was like, hang on, I might be like the best player here or the top two, and it's all the
Yeah.
best kids. So I was like, okay, I have a real chance now, and probably grew up a bit emotionally as well. And that year, my junior year, was me and Holden who were captains, and he was just an unbelievable, person to have sort of supporting me. I definitely couldn't have done it by myself, but he was a very tough person and set the standards high. And I sort of felt like I was there supporting him. And that year, our junior year, was the best we had. We beat Maryland during that season when they were ranked in the top 10. We beat UNC in the tournament, got to the second round. And so I would say that was the year where I felt like, okay, I've sort of got a handle on this, and felt, that I played my best football and was most confident for sure. So it was like all 4 years had lots of ups and downs and challenges. But yeah, there definitely reached a point where I was like, okay, I can have a real go at this. I'm good enough. I feel comfortable enough, and yeah, sort of went from there.
Definitely, and I was going to talk about the win that you guys had over
Uh
Chapel
huh.
Hill. I remember I was at the Big South final, and even though the Big South's considered a weaker conference, that
Yeah,
once the conference tournament starts, man, it's anyone's game.
it
Like
really
it's a
is. Yeah.
yeah, like it's crazy. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and how that felt being a junior and a leader on the team. And
Hmm.
I think if I'm not mistaken, it was the first NCAA tournament win, or I'm not sure if that's 100% right.
Yeah. I think on the men's side, it was the first
Yeah,
tournament when the schools had, and
yeah,
it just
that's
like
what.
I
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know, all week, like after we played Campbell in the
yeah.
final, who are on paper probably better than us. They have boys from France and from Ghana who have gone on to play professional, like a lot of professionals in that team as well. Maybe
Wow. Okay.
maybe five or six that played, and we beat them 2-0 in the final. Probably, in my opinion, apart from our next game against UNC, our most complete performance that I was there. And all week leading up to that game, I think we all just knew that we were going to win, and we were going to go to UNC. And I don't think they knew that we were so up for the game, or so they probably underestimated us a bit. But I don't want to take away anything from the game, because we played really well. And it was
Yeah.
yeah, it was just looking back, some of the best times. We won that game, and we knew we had Stanford in the next round, which we got smashed. But
Yeah.
after we beat
Yeah.
UNC, the vibes, I remember the boys playing California Love on the speaker after the game, just rocking through UNC, like we were on their like indoor football field, just like buzzing after the game. Just I don't know, it was awesome. It was awesome to be a part of, for sure.
Yeah, I bet that was a pretty memorable moment, and obviously that team was class. That was a heck of a team, and
Yeah,
unfortunately, like you said, you ran into Stanford in the next round. But getting
yeah,
a tournament
yeah.
win's pretty cool. So nothing to hang
Hmm.
your head about. Um, so obviously that was an unbelievable junior year, and then senior year you're an All
Hmm.
American and you win Big South Defensive Player of the Year. Were you a little bit bummed at the results of the season, because obviously yourself, like personally, you had an incredible year, one of the best in school history, but as far as the team goes, how did you feel about being the returning leader, the captain as well?
Yeah, yeah. It felt there's a little more pressure, I would say, because it's your senior year and you don't know what's next and stuff. And
Yeah.
we had multiple chances that year to beat ACC teams and stuff like that, and we just couldn't get over the line during the regular
Yeah.
season in those games for whatever reason. So I would say that was a little bit frustrating, but we we still had a really good year, and like those moments, there's just so much adversity when you know you're good
Yeah.
enough to win and you don't get it done. It's some teams would just fall apart and stuff. So I think one thing I would say I'm proud of is how we all just stuck together, and even when we're, tying Asheville in the final, who are massive underdogs, we still managed to get through on penalties and just say like, we're not gonna let this happen, to us. We're gonna get it done. So it was still a cool experience, and
Yeah.
really really enjoyable. But that's life. Like it's always tinged with a bit of disappointment. Sometimes things don't go as good as you think they are.
Yep.
I would say it's just as valuable as the year we won the tournament and then beat UNC. It just teaches you something different. It's all kind of helped me, in the years since then, quite a lot. So it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's a pretty great way to look at it, and I feel like mindset's so important in anything you do in life, but especially in professional sports and
Hmm.
all the ups and downs, like you said, like whether it's an injury, whether it's whatever it may be, like it that's a great way to look at it. And talking a little bit, actually, this connects perfectly with the ups and downs. After you finish up your insane career at High Point, I'm sure I remember we were working on a project together and we talked a little bit
Yeah.
about the MLS draft. And I personally think it was bullshit you weren't drafted. And it's pretty clear now that it was. But when
Yeah.
you were not, were you like, damn, this sucks? Or how did you overcome that adversity? Because you obviously signed pretty recently after the draft. So what did you think about that?
Yeah. No, it was difficult. First of all, one thing I would like to say is me and Owen were both sport management majors together, and this man right here single-handedly got me through my senior
Oh,
year with group
no, no.
projects, with everything. He was top class.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know
I think
about that,
I
but
used to yeah I used to enjoy coming to class. We could talk about stuff,
hmm
get away from
for
away from
sure.
footy and stuff. But yeah, no, it was they opened up the draft for sophomores and juniors to get drafted that year as well.
Hmm.
It's being an international, like those spots that teams have are very very hard to come by, and if it was based on ability, like I would have got picked for sure. But there's just a little more that goes into it, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed, because I still thought I'd probably done enough. And I think, yeah, that was a I don't think I showed it, but it was a very very tough time. I remember I had my parents and my girlfriend at the time with me, and I don't know, I just felt so embarrassed for them and for her, for no reason, that it didn't happen. But ended up getting a second chance in Minnesota after that, and looking back, it really wasn't a big deal at all. Like, if you're good enough, you're gonna come through to the level that you're
Yep.
meant to come through to. And sometimes, you don't get the limelight of being drafted or being whatever, which might have been a blessing in disguise, if
Yeah,
I'm honest. So it was an interesting time, but no real regrets about it, or anything. And in the end, probably worked out for the best.
for sure. And I
Yeah.
personally, even though I'm not an MLS scout or anything, I think you sure as hell deserve to be drafted. But I do think it's an interesting point that you make because, like, say you went like seventh overall in the MLS draft, you're immediately walking into that MLS team, and they're expecting top class every training, every
Yeah.
workout, every single time you step on the pitch. So I think, like what you said, that's a great mindset for you to think about it that way, and I think it's important to do that. And obviously, you got signed to Minnesota United and played on their second team. So what does that look like? What is there any difference between an MLS second team and a team like Celtic second team?
Yeah, I would say so for sure.
Okay.
It's still a good level, and it's so different to like what I'm doing now. I would say is it still feels like development football, and sort of
Yeah.
we would
Yep.
have we would have a lot of academy kids with us in training and games. And the emphasis wasn't always on winning, which I found frustrating. It was we're trying to play a certain type of way.
Yep.
Um, I'm sure you knowing me can understand how I would
Yeah.
get on with that.
Yeah.
Um, but it was like I still got the chance to train first team sometimes and be in the same building with those guys. And it's I wouldn't say the level was as high as what it was at Celtic.
Yeah. Oh,
Being
definitely not. No.
yeah, being one of the best
Yep.
one of the better teams in Europe. But it was still massive for me, and a lot of adversity that year for sure, and sort of glad and proud of the way that I dealt with it,
Yeah.
and kind of just kept going. You can't get your head down. You gotta just push on. And I would probably compare it to being in the minor leagues for a baseball
Yep.
team and just trying to prove yourself to the big team that you can do it. You know what I mean? And it's tough, but it's if you either sink or swim
Yep.
and go from there. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And just to clarify, I don't think the Minnesota United second team could even hang a hat on the Celtic second team. I was just curious if it was similar in any way of like where these guys like if your class on the second team, you'll get pulled up to
yeah.
the first team like you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an element to it. There's
Yeah.
probably a little bit more politics to it, and there's just so much luck involved.
Well,
If
the
someone
US,
someone in
there's
your
always
position, yeah, someone in your position goes down or something like
mhm.
that, you maybe
Yep.
get your chance. But yeah, it's interesting for sure. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens the next few years with the MLS and the USL like sort of competing against each other
Yeah.
and everything. And it's so different to how it is in the UK with no promotion relegation yet or anything. So we'll see. We'll see.
I would love to see them implement some sort of thing
Yeah.
like that, and I'm sure you would too as
Yeah.
a USL championship player. And talking a little bit about that, when you trained with the first team at Minnesota United, did you see a huge difference in skill level and talent to what you see now playing for Indy 11?
Um, Not massive. They're definitely better. For
Hmm.
sure. That's just the nature of it. But like we played Philadelphia Union in the Open Cup
I saw that.
about a week ago, and I didn't play, but we took them to extra time and penalties, drew 1-1. They were playing maybe a slightly weakened team, but like we can compete, no problem
Yeah,
on
for
on
sure.
any given day with those guys. But it's definitely better. But
Yeah.
it's just I would say the gap is what it should be. It's first division, second division. Like
Yep.
it's kind of what you'd expect. So it's good, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I got a personal question about Indy 11. Is it mostly internationals, or is it mostly kids coming from college, or is it a mix of everything?
Yeah, it's we don't have many. I don't think we have any kids from college this year. Like our uh, our gaffer was, um, I think he looks more at next pro. That's kind of the step that's taken
Okay.
these days. Is
Yeah.
you go
Yep.
college, next pro, and then if you're good enough, you move up from there.
Yep. Yep.
Um, but yeah, we've got a lot of internationals, people from England and people who've played there, and a mix of Americans as well. And it's kind of like America is just so, I think, enticing for everyone. There's so many people that want to live here
Yep.
and live this lifestyle. So yeah, it's a mix of everything. But like from a cultural standpoint, like I kind of like it that you've got people from different cultures all coming
Yeah.
together and sort of competing for one goal and everything. So it's cool. It's cool for sure.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, you did that at High Point, so it's nothing new for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
There's plenty of that at High Point. Well, I want to do a quick segment that I always do with all the guys that I have on. I call it the Oh No Sports Rapid Recap. It's
Let's do it, man.
I just fire some questions at you. If you don't like
Okay.
it, then you say skip. But think about it like if I was asking your favorite color, red or blue. It's just a one word answer. It could be yes or no, or depending on the question, like
Okay.
something like your favorite food, something along those lines. So
Okay.
I'm gonna just fire.
Am I going rapid fire here? Just like straight
Yes,
away? Okay. Gotcha.
yeah. So I'll ask the question, and then you just fire back an answer, and I'll ask the next one.
All right. Hit me.
Okay, so we'll start it out with favorite food.
Pasta.
Okay, best flavor of Gatorade.
Pass. No idea.
Okay, favorite type
No
of
idea.
cleats.
Uh, Nike Mercurials is what I'm wearing right now.
Okay, what's your soccer player comp? Like, who do you play like in the real world?
I'm gonna get tortured for this one, but our gaffer here said I was a little bit like Dan Burns, so I'm gonna throw Dan Burn in there right now because I play a
Okay,
little bit of
love
left
that.
back.
Love that. Okay, do you like the local legend Ed Sheeran? Yes or no?
I love him. Yeah, he's brilliant.
Okay, love that. Favorite TV show?
Game of Thrones or the first season of True Detective, if anyone knows what I'm talking about,
Okay,
it's
that's
worth a
those are two
watch.
great answers. I'm
Yeah.
I'm on season 3, episode 9 of Game of Thrones. No
Okay.
spoilers, but I'm excited to watch the rest.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah,
all
it
right.
gets good.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Best sports movie you've ever seen?
Can I have a second to think about it?
Yes, yeah.
God, that's
Take a
such a
second.
good question. Oh,
Yeah, it's tough. Right off the top of the head, it's
I
tough.
know. I like a good sport movie as well. I'm gonna go with Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore is probably
Nice,
gonna go there.
nice. Yeah.
It's a
Okay. Do
classic.
you have a pregame meal that you eat before games?
Usually just rice and chicken, but I'm not too picky, so I'll
Okay.
have
Do you have a
anything.
pregame ritual? Any superstitions?
Zero, zero things.
Okay. Do you have a go-to music genre that you like listening to?
Again, I'm a little bit everywhere. I'm listening to a lot of country right now, but I like dance music. I like a bit of everything. So, well, it's
North
whatever I'm
Carolina's
feeling.
North Carolina's made you a country man.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, best team in the world right now in soccer.
PSG.
Best player in the world.
Lamine Yamal. Not even close.
Okay.
Not even
If
close.
you could play one other sport professionally, what would it be and why? This is the last question.
That's a great question, and I've had this answer for a while, to be fair. Golf, 100%. I think why? Just because the lifestyle is incredible. You don't
Yes.
you don't really have to be fit. You just get to turn up, play around the golf. Go drink if you want, go do whatever. Which is probably what I would do. I think watching Rory McIlroy, if we got any golf fans, win that Masters, was one of the most inspiring things that I've ever seen in my life. I've watched him, since he's been come on tour and everything, and go through. If anyone knows about the ups and downs that he went through, is probably, apart from Tiger's Masters win in 2019, the second or joint top most inspiring thing I've ever seen watching sports. So I'm big into my golf at the minute, just watching it. I'd like to play a little bit more if I could, but for sure that would be a good lifestyle.
That's a good answer. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming Rory's your favorite guy. You like Bobby Mack as well, or anyone
I
else
I
from
do.
Scotland?
Yeah, Bobby Max, he's on the come up. I'm sure he's gonna get
Yep.
get a win get a
Yeah,
win
he's
pretty
he's
soon.
good.
But yeah, Rory's brilliant. I love Jordan Spieth as well. It'd be cool to see him get another major.
Yeah, the
But yeah,
Grand Slam this weekend if
I
he
know,
wins.
I know. I'd love to see a little Spieth McIlroy showdown
Oh
in the
yeah.
final again. But I'm not sure anything's gonna come close to those last few holes at the Masters.
Oh
So
man,
we'll
that was
see.
must see TV for anyone, not even golf
Crazy,
fans, everybody.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, when my mother's saying that it was a great tournament and she doesn't play golf ever, that means it's a damn good golf tournament.
that's funny. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was unbelievable, unbelievable to watch.
I wish I was good enough to play professional golf as well, even though it's not my interview. I'll put that on record.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
like to live
no,
that lifestyle. It sounds like a good one.
yeah, no, for sure. If you want to go for it, I'll put in the 10,000 hours with you right now. We can try do that team event in Zurich in about 20 years if we get there, and and go
Love
from
it.
there.
Yeah, we'll go
Yes,
from
sir.
there. All right. Well, I got a few last more personal questions that about your career and stuff, and then we'll finish it up. I appreciate you taking all the time, man, for real.
No worries.
But okay, I got greatest moment in your soccer career so far. It can be one from your childhood, one from pro, whatever you want. It may take a sec to think about it, but I'm always curious.
Oh, it's a great one. Um, it's I would say right now would be um my debut for Indy 11 this year in the Open Cup. We played Miami FC, the other Miami, not the main one.
Yeah.
Um, we won 1-0 in overtime, and it was my first taste of men's professional football. You know, where it's not academy kids involved as well,
Not
and
boys.
just yeah, like decent fans in the crowd as well. Maybe 5,000-6,000 or something like that.
Well, that's
So
fun. Yep.
yeah, just being able to know that I could do it and sort of get that weight off my shoulders was a good feeling. It was a really good feeling.
Yeah, that's got to feel pretty awesome, and putting in
Yeah,
a 120-minute shift too is
yeah.
that's awesome.
It was tough. It was a tough one for sure. We hadn't played yet all season, so I think the last game I would have had would have been preseason, and there was a lot of us in the same position on the field that day, just try to get through that last 15 20
Hmm.
minutes or so. But it was
Yeah.
it was cool to get it done. We literally won it in the last kick of the ball as well, so can't complain.
Wow, that's pretty
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah, that's always fun to win that way. Um, and I got another one for you about
Okay.
it could be from when you played at Celtic, could be now at Indy
hmm
11. Who's the best player you've ever stepped on the pitch with? Like been on your
Um,
team, or it could be played
I'm
against.
I'm gonna say. There's this kid called Karamoko Dembele. Do you remember who I'm talking about? He was in my team growing up at Celtic, and I'm pretty sure
Let me look him up.
his YouTube video will still be up there. But from the ages of about 12 to 16 or 17, I think he might have been the best player in world football. Like he was just another little Messi.
Oh wow, yep. He
Just
we were saying that Dembele he plays in the championship right now, so
that's
he's
right.
clearly pretty
Yeah.
class.
Yeah, no, he's doing well right now. He was playing for Blackpool last year. He's at Queens Park Rangers now. I think he had like
Okay.
22 goal involvements, but yeah, when he was about 14 years old, he was probably the best player in the world for our age, and he's just used to get the ball like from wherever in the pitch, dribble through everyone and score. And it was crazy to watch at times. It really was. I used to defend against him in training, and he probably hates me because I used to stand on his toes all the time. Like, and it was just because I couldn't get near him. Like nobody could. But he was unbelievable. It was just unbelievable to watch. And he's doing really well now. All credit to him. But at the time, I think we all really thought that he was going to go on and be like the Lamine Yamal, the next, the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
best thing. But he's still young, and I think he could be in the Premier League at some point. But yeah, he was a joke, mate. He was an absolute joke back then.
Yeah, well, I love asking that question because we get answers like that where I would have never guessed that, and that's
hmm
pretty incredible. And
Yeah,
and yeah, like you said, like you would have hoped he's going to be the next Yamal, but at the end of the day, he's our age. He's 23, 22, so he's still got plenty of years ahead of him. And if he has 22 goal involvements in the championship, I would not be shocked to see him find his way on a Premier League side next season.
yeah. No, I hope so. I really do.
That's pretty sweet though. Okay, I got two more questions for you. Last one about the soccer career. Did you have a welcome to professional soccer moment where it was like, holy shit, I'm here?
Um,
It could have been in
honestly,
training. It could have been in the workout room. I'm just curious if you
yeah.
had one.
This year, training at Indy, like at Minnesota last year in the second team, it was a little bit kind of the coaches wanted to hold your hand and they would
Yeah,
help you if you asked and sort of thing. But here, maybe a week in the preseason, I hit like a switch ball to the other side that was under hit or something like that, and it was like just a basic technical mistake, but it happens. I didn't think anything of it, and our our gaffer just turns to me and just is like, you, like, it just gives it. I won't repeat what he said, but just gives it to me like right off the bat, and I just caught me off guard. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, and but I would say, yeah, that was the moment where I was like, okay, I'm here. And the funny thing is, you know I absolutely love that style of coaching as well. I feel like it
Yeah.
it gets it gets a little bit more out of me. So it's a good thing. So yeah, that was actually a good moment for me. Looking back, it was like you said, yeah, I'm here now. Like, I've always sort of not enjoyed criticism, but like used it as motivation, if that makes sense. So that
Yeah.
would I say would be it. It was also pretty funny, I think, as well for some of my teammates at the time. But yeah, we'll say that.
Oh yeah, yeah. You think it's just a basic underhit long ball, and all of a sudden you're
Uh-huh.
getting screamed at by the coach.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
that's it.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Well, last thing, Messi or Ronaldo, who is your GOAT?
Lionel Messi. I won't
Okay.
I won't I won't explain myself. I think it's
Yeah.
self-explanatory, but
I couldn't agree after that World Cup
yeah.
run, I couldn't agree more. There's
Uh-huh.
always those guys out there. I'm sure you've got teammates that are like still
Yeah.
Ronaldo fanboys.
Yeah, no, that's a very true thing. I think with those people, I think I don't know, they've probably just got like something else going on in their life, or I'm not sure, but they're definitely not thinking clearly. That's for sure. And I,
No,
I hope I
no,
hope
they,
this gets some interaction on that on your account or something like
yeah,
that. We
yeah,
can we can hear from some of them, but yeah, definitely Messi.
yeah, that's for damn sure. They're not thinking clearly. Okay, well, man, I really appreciate you coming on, Finn, for real. And I always do this as a last thing. Just, is there
Mhm.
anything that we haven't covered on here in the 40 minutes that you've been on here that you want everyone to know that's listening to this about you?
Um, I don't know. I feel like we've covered a lot, man. I appreciate you having me on, and I would say thank you to you, mate. I think at High Point, there's I would say the most of the student body, or maybe not most, but there's some people who are a little out of touch with reality. It would be fair to say. Um, but I thought you were, from the time I've known you, you've been first class. I appreciate your friendship. I think you're a very down to earth guy, and I think what you're doing is super cool, man. So anything I can do
Thank you.
to help out is great, and that's all really. That's all.
I appreciate that, brother, and best of luck with everything this season. I know we'll be rooting for you over here for sure. So I'm hoping I can somehow get out to a game, maybe on a weekend or something.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
love to drive down to Indy and check it out. So best of luck with everything the rest of the season, brother. Thank you for coming
yeah,
on.
for sure, man. Thank you, Owen.